What if a seemingly simple encounter with a stranger turned into a life-changing moment? Anna, a hard-working innkeeper, thought she was just helping a lost traveler named James when he knocked on her door one stormy night, drenched and desperate for shelter. Little did she know, his unexpected arrival would shatter her guarded heart and reveal a hidden world of wealth and secrets. As their connection deepened, so did the tension of his concealed identity. Stay tuned to discover how their lives intertwine in ways neither could have imagined, leading to revelations that challenge everything they thought they knew about love and trust. She thought he was just a broke traveler from the U.S., but when he showed up in a limousine to confess his love, her world turned upside down. "Excuse me," came an unfamiliar voice, low yet clear, tinged with an American accent. Anna looked up from her ledger, her pen pausing mid-word. The sun was beginning to set behind the cliffs, casting long shadows across the small wooden porch of her seaside inn. The man standing at her front gate looked out of place. Dusty jeans, a torn backpack slung over one shoulder, and a denim jacket faded from wear. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said, stepping cautiously closer. "I lost my wallet. I've been traveling across Europe and got separated from my crew." Anna narrowed her eyes, instantly alert. "And you ended up here in a fishing village with no train station, no direct bus routes, and no tourists this time of year?" The man raised both hands, half smiling. "It's a long story." "I'm sure it is," she said, standing with her arms crossed over her chest. "What do you want?" "A place to sleep, just for the night," he replied. "I'll work for it, clean the floors, fix something. I just need a roof over my head until morning." Anna glanced around. The town was small, quiet, and the last thing she needed was trouble. The last time she trusted a stranger who just needed a hand, she ended up chasing a drunk out of her pantry with a broom. "No vacancies," she said curtly. "Your sign says rooms available." He arched a brow. "Not for wanderers with no ID and a sob story," she retorted. He blinked, then nodded slowly. "Fair enough. Sorry to bother you." Turning on his heel, he walked away without protest, heading toward the cliffside path. Anna watched him for a moment, her heart hardened by experience, then turned back inside. It wasn't until 2 hours later, when the wind began to howl and rain fell in sheets across the coast, that she saw him again. Through the window, his silhouette sat hunched on the wooden bench beneath her awning, his jacket pulled tight around him, head bowed against the storm. "Damn it." With a curse under her breath, Anna grabbed a towel and opened the door. "Hey." The man looked up, his face pale and lips tinged with blue. She sighed heavily. "Come inside before you drown." He dried off by the fireplace while she made tea in the kitchen, muttering to herself the entire time. She brought him a steaming mug, placing it on the table without looking at him. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Don't thank me," she replied. "You're sleeping in the storage room. Don't touch anything. Don't steal anything. And don't think I won't call the police if you try anything stupid." He smiled despite himself. Understood. She gave him a glance. "What's your name?" "James." "That all you're going to give me for now?" he said, shrugging. "I'll earn the rest." By morning, the rain had passed, and so had most of Anna's irritation. James had woken early, cleaned the common room without being asked, and even chopped wood for the fire. She found him stacking logs by the shed when she came outside, a towel draped over his shoulder, his hair still damp. "You're not afraid of work," she admitted. "Nope," he said. "Not afraid of much, actually, except maybe cats. They're shifty." She smirked. He stayed another night, then another. Each day he fixed something that had long been left broken. Leaky faucets, creaky steps, the cracked window in room 4. He cooked simple meals for the two of them, and though he never said much about himself, he listened when she talked. It was strange having someone around. For 2 years since her mother's death, Anna had run the inn alone, turning down offers from corporations to buy it, refusing to turn her home into another overpriced resort. She didn't trust easily, not after what happened with Mark. But James was different. She still didn't trust him, not completely. But she noticed the way he never asked for anything, not even when his boots were soaked or when his hands blistered from hammering boards. He never crossed boundaries, never pried into her life. He just existed quietly, like he had all the time in the world to wait for her to make up her mind about him. One evening, as they sat on the back porch watching the waves crash beneath the cliffs, James broke the silence. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For not leaving me out there in the rain." Anna glanced at him. "I almost did." He smiled. "Yeah, but you didn't." She didn't reply, but something warm flickered in her chest. Maybe it was the firelight. Maybe it was the way he looked at the sea, as if it held secrets only he could hear. Maybe it was the way she had started to wait for him in the mornings without even realizing it. Whatever it was, it felt dangerous, and she wasn't ready for dangerous, not yet. The days settled into a rhythm, uneven, unpredictable, but strangely comforting. Anna ran her in like a captain at sea, efficient, disciplined, no nonsense. Every towel folded to a precise square, every booking logged and color-coded. Breakfast served at 7:30 sharp. No exceptions. James, on the other hand, floated through the hours like a leaf on the wind. He wandered barefoot through the garden, hummed old rock ballads while sweeping the porch, and had an uncanny knack for striking up conversations with a few guests brave enough to visit in the off-season. "Do you always whistle while you work?" Anna asked one morning, arms crossed as she watched him wash the front windows. "Wrong side of the squeegee, of course." James turned with a grin. "Only when I'm happy." She arched an eyebrow. "You've been here 2 weeks, doing grunt work, living in a storage room. What exactly are you so happy about?" He shrugged. "Sun's out, roof over my head, free coffee. That's more than most people have." She couldn't argue with that logic, but it frustrated her all the same. His constant optimism, his ability to shrug off life's weight like it was nothing. He didn't belong in her neat, orderly world, yet he didn't seem to be leaving. "Why are you still here?" she asked one evening as they locked up the inn together. James tilted his head. "Do you want me to leave?" Anna hesitated. "That's not what I asked." He smiled. "Well, I'm still here because I like it. It's quiet, peaceful. The ocean's beautiful. You make good soup." She rolled her eyes. "That's hardly a reason. I've stayed for less." She didn't know what that meant, and he didn't elaborate. James never talked about his past. Not once. He joked, he listened, he worked hard, but when the conversation turned personal, he sidestepped it like a seasoned dancer. Anna, on the other hand, kept everything close to the vest. She wasn't cold, not exactly, but there was a steel wall around her that James couldn't quite see through. She'd been hurt, anyone could tell. The way she flinched at compliments, the way she stiffened when he stood too close. One afternoon, while painting the fence together, James asked casually, "So, who broke your heart?" Anna didn't answer. She just handed him the paintbrush and walked away. Later that night, he found a note taped to his door. "Don't ask questions you're not ready to hear the answers to." He smiled and didn't bring it up again. Despite their differences, or maybe because of them, moments kept sneaking in. Quiet, unexpected moments that caught Anna off guard. Like the time she found him in the kitchen trying to bake banana bread and somehow mistaking salt for sugar. She burst out laughing for the first time in months. Or the night the power went out during a storm and he lit candles all around the dining room, telling ghost stories in an exaggerated southern accent, making her laugh until she cried. And then there was the morning she overslept, something she never did, and woke to find breakfast already made, dishes washed, and fresh coffee waiting. "You're slipping," James teased as she stumbled into the kitchen. "Thought you were some kind of hospitality ninja." "Don't get used to it," she muttered, but her cheeks were pink. She didn't understand it, this connection, this undercurrent of warmth that lingered between their snark and silence. It was chaos in her perfectly managed world. But somehow, the place didn't feel empty when he was in it. Still, she kept him at arm's length, refusing to ask about the phone she once saw him lock in a drawer, refusing to wonder how someone who claimed to be broke spoke fluent French or fixed a broken espresso machine like a pro. She didn't ask why he avoided town, why he never went farther than the cliffs, or why he sometimes stared out at the sea like it was calling him home. Whatever ghosts haunted them, they danced quietly between the walls of that inn. For now, that was enough. But deep down, both of them knew the peace wouldn't last forever. As the days went by, the storm shifted both the weather and the dynamics between Anna and James. One evening, as the wind howled outside, Anna found herself restless, unable to shake the feeling that something was brewing beneath the surface. She had grown accustomed to James's presence, yet a lingering unease tugged at her heart. "James," she called out, finding him in the garden, his hands deep in the soil, tending to the flowers she had nearly forgotten about. "Do you ever think about where you'll go next?" He paused, glancing up at her with a quizzical look. "Not really. I'm not in a rush." "Why?" Anna shrugged, trying to mask the concern in her voice. "I just wonder if you'll keep moving on once you've had your fill of this place." James wiped his hands on his jeans and smiled, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "I'm not going anywhere just yet. I like it here." "Do you?" she asked, her brow furrowed. "Or is that just what you tell yourself?" He tilted his head, studying her. "Why do you doubt me? I'm just a handyman, remember?" "Right," she replied, crossing her arms defensively. "A handyman who knows how to fix broken espresso machines and speaks fluent French." He chuckled lightly. "Maybe I'm just a jack of all trades." As the days turned into weeks, Anna found herself increasingly drawn to him. The warmth of his laughter, the ease of their conversations, and the way he seemed to understand her without words began to chip away at her reservations. Yet, just beneath the surface of their growing bond, a tension remained, an unspoken truth that hung in the air between them. One afternoon, while they were washing dishes together, Anna caught a glimpse of the phone James kept hidden away. It stirred her curiosity and unease. "What's with the secret phone?" she asked, trying to sound nonchalant. James hesitated, the light in his eyes dimming. "It's nothing. Just not something I want to talk about." "Why not?" she pressed, feeling a mix of frustration and concern. "If you trust me, why keep secrets?" "I do trust you," he replied softly, his voice steady but edged with tension. "But some things are better left unsaid." Anna felt a pang in her chest, the familiar steel wall around her heart starting to close in again. "You say that, but it makes me feel like you're hiding something important. Something I should know." He sighed, running a hand through his damp hair. "Can we just enjoy this moment? I don't want to ruin what we have with heavy questions." She wanted to protest, to demand answers, but she also didn't want to push him away. So she nodded, albeit reluctantly, and they continued washing dishes in silence, the tension lingering like an uninvited guest. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Anna once again found herself on the back porch watching the waves crash against the cliffs. James joined her, his presence a comforting weight beside her. They sat in silence, the sound of the ocean filling the space between them. "Do you ever wonder about the future?" she asked after a while, breaking the stillness. "Sometimes," he admitted, gazing out at the horizon. "But I try to focus on today. Tomorrow takes care of itself." "Must be nice," Anna said, wishing she could adopt his carefree attitude. "I'm always thinking about what's next, what I need to do, what I need to fix." James turned to her, his expression serious. "You don't always have to be in control, Anna. It's okay to let go sometimes." "But if I let go, what happens?" she challenged, feeling a mix of fear and longing. He reached for her hand, his touch warm and reassuring. "You might find something beautiful waiting for you. You might find me." The sincerity in his eyes made her heart race, yet she still hesitated. "And what if you're just passing through?" "I'm not just passing through," he said firmly. "I want to be here. I want to be with you." The old supply shed at the edge of the property had been rattling ominously for days, and now it seemed to be calling to her. "James!" she shouted, her heart racing as she grabbed her raincoat and flashlight. "I'm going to check the shed." "Wait," came his urgent voice from the hallway, but she was already out the door, the wind nearly ripping it from her grasp. The rain poured down in torrents as she made her way toward the shed, the flashlight beams slicing through the darkness. Her heart raced with every step. She could feel James's presence behind her, but she pushed on, driven by an instinct she couldn't quite explain. As she reached the shed, a loose stone caught her foot, sending her tumbling down a muddy slope toward the cliff's edge. Panic surged through her as she scrambled for purchase, but gravity won. "Anna!" She heard James shout, his voice breaking through the chaos. She reached out, but it was too late. She crashed against a ledge, pain shooting through her ankle as she lay there, rain pouring down her face. "Hold on. I'm coming," James called, his silhouette appearing above her. "Don't be stupid," she shouted hoarsely, desperate to protect him. But he didn't listen. He slid down the same path she had, fearlessness in his eyes. When he reached her, he dropped to his knees, concern etched on his face. "Are you hurt?" "My ankle," she gasped, tears mingling with the rain. Without hesitation, he scooped her up, cradling her against him. "I've got you." As he carried her back up the slope, she felt the warmth of his body and the steady beat of his heart. In that moment, everything shifted. The storm outside faded away, leaving only the two of them and the unspoken connection that had been building between them. When they reached the inn, he kicked the door open and laid her gently on the couch by the fire. She shivered, soaked to the bone, and watched as he grabbed blankets and towels, wrapping her like she was precious. "You should have let me check the shed," he murmured, dabbing her face dry. "I thought I could handle it," she whispered, her voice trembling. His gaze softened. "You don't always have to do everything alone." Tears slipped down her cheeks, mixing with the rainwater. In that moment, vulnerability washed over her, and she realized how much she needed him. "I thought I was going to die," she admitted, burying her face in his shoulder. "You're okay," he whispered, holding her tightly. "I've got you." They stayed like that for what felt like an eternity, the storm still raging outside, but muted by the beating of their hearts. Something had changed between them, not with a kiss or a confession, but through a fall, a rescue, and a raw, unguarded embrace. In the days that followed, the inn felt different. The storm had passed, but the air was charged with an unspoken promise, one that lingered between them like a secret waiting to be shared. Anna knew that the peace they had found together was fragile, but for the first time in a long while she felt hopeful. The morning after the storm brought an unusual stillness to the inn. The last of the weekend guests had checked out early, leaving Anna with a quiet that felt both comforting and unsettling. As she wandered through the hallway, a cup of coffee in hand, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between her and James. While she was pouring Mr. Lawrence's second cup by the window, she heard a familiar voice outside, muffled yet urgent. "I told you not yet," James said, his tone low but firm. "No, I'm not ready to come back. I need more time." Anna's heart raced as she leaned closer to the open kitchen window, straining to hear more. The mention of time struck a chord within her. He seemed so different, so distant, even as he stood in her garden. "Yeah, I know what's at stake," he continued, his voice steady yet tinged with tension. "But I meant what I said. I'll handle it." With her heart pounding, Anna stepped outside, the cool air hitting her face. "Interesting call," she said, trying to keep her tone casual as she approached him. James turned slowly, caught off guard. "Anna, I didn't hear you." "No kidding," she retorted, crossing her arms. "Who are you talking to?" His expression shifted, vulnerability flashing across his face. "It was just—" "Don't lie," she interrupted, her voice sharper than she intended. Silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken words. Finally, James sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "It's complicated." "Complicated how?" she pressed, frustration bubbling within her. "You've been here for weeks, and I thought we were building something real. Now I find out you're keeping secrets?" "Anna, listen," he said, his tone pleading. "I never meant to conceal anything from you. I told you I was passing through. And yet, here you are, still pretending," she shot back, hurt lacing her words. "Making me believe you're just some guy with a broken past and a good heart." James stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "You think I'm conning you?" "I don't know what to think," she replied, her voice trembling. "Clearly, I don't know you at all." He hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing down on them. "Just give me time, please." "Time for what?" she demanded, feeling her resolve waver. "To disappear in the night? To call whoever that was and tell them the job's done?" He stood frozen, a mixture of pain and understanding in his gaze. Anna, I want you gone, she said, her voice shaking. Today. James nodded slowly, the finality of her words hanging in the air. Without another word, he turned and walked past her, heading up the stairs to gather his things. Anna didn't watch him go, but when she heard the soft click of the front door closing for the last time, it felt louder than any storm. The days that followed were filled with a deafening silence. The inn, once alive with laughter and warmth, felt cold and empty. Without James's presence, the rhythm of her days was disrupted. She missed his humming in the kitchen, his off-key singing that had somehow become a comforting soundtrack to her life. The quiet was oppressive, reminding her of the void he had left behind. But pride held her back. She had made her decision, and she wouldn't second-guess it. Then came the morning everything changed. It started like any other. The familiar smell of brewed coffee, the hum of the heater, and Mr. Lawrence sitting at his usual spot by the window, sipping tea and watching the waves. Anna was pouring his cup when she heard it, a sharp, rasping breath. "Dad?" she called, her heart racing as she rushed to his side. His hand slipped from the table and panic gripped her. "Dad, please." He tried to speak, but the words came out garbled. His eyes rolled back as Anna fumbled for her phone, trembling fingers slipping as it clattered beneath the counter. "Somebody help," she cried, desperation lacing her voice. And then he was there, James, bursting through the door like a storm of his own, soaked from the rain, eyes blazing with urgency. Without hesitation, he dropped to his knees beside her father, assessing the situation in an instant. "He's having a stroke," James said urgently. "Call emergency now." Frozen in shock, Anna struggled to find her voice. "My phone." It fell. James was already pulling his own from his pocket, dialing emergency services with one hand while beginning CPR with the other. "Stay with me, sir," he said firmly. "Don't you dare give up now." Anna watched in disbelief, tears streaming down her face as James worked tirelessly. He had been supposed to be gone, yet here he was, just when she needed him the most. As the ambulance arrived minutes later and the paramedics took over, Anna followed them outside, holding her father's hand until the very last second before he was lifted into the vehicle. James stood back, silent, rain dripping from his coat. When the ambulance disappeared down the hill, Anna turned to face him, her eyes red and voice raw. "Why?" He looked at her with the same quiet steadiness she had come to know. "Why did you come back?" she asked, needing to understand. "Why were you even here?" "I never really left," he said softly. "I stayed nearby. I needed to make sure you were okay." She shook her head, overwhelmed. "But I told you to go. I said—" "I know what you said," James interrupted gently. "But you didn't mean it. Not all of it. And even if you did, I still couldn't stay away." Her voice cracked. "You saved his life." James took a step forward, his eyes searching hers. "Because he's your father, and you. You're not just someone I lived with. You're not just some innkeeper in a town I stumbled into." "Then what am I?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. He hesitated, then spoke with quiet conviction. "You're the only place I've ever felt at home." Anna stared at him, her breath catching, tears rolling down her cheeks once more, but this time they were tears of relief. She stepped forward, reaching for his hand, gripping it tightly. "I don't know who you are, James. I don't know why you lied or what you're hiding," she whispered, "but I know you didn't have to come back. And you did." His gaze softened, and Anna felt a shift within her. In that moment, she believed him. Whatever secrets he held, she could see the truth in his eyes. The days that followed her father's emergency were a blur. Mr. Lawrence was stable and recovering slowly in the hospital, and Anna spent most of her time by his side. But even as she tended to her father's needs, her thoughts drifted constantly to James. He had vanished once more, just like that. After saving her father's life, after holding her hand and saying things that felt real, he had disappeared without a word again. And this time, it hurt worse. She searched for him in every corner of the village, passing quietly by the cafe, the marina, even the post office. Nothing. No one had seen him. It was as if he had been a dream, one she should never have let herself believe in. 3 days later, the stillness shattered. It began with a sound Anna had never heard in the village before, the purr of a luxury engine, smooth and deep. Curious locals peeked through their windows as a long black limousine pulled up in front of the inn. Whispers rose in the wind. Who is that? Someone famous? Must be some rich American. Anna stood behind the reception counter when the doors of the limousine opened. The first to emerge was a man in a sleek gray suit and earpiece, clearly a bodyguard. Then came another in tailored navy holding a leather folder. And then there he was, James, but he was not the James she knew. He stepped out of the car like he belonged to another world. His dark suit hugged his frame perfectly. His shoes gleamed and his hair was swept back. Every inch of him was polished and poised. Gone were the worn jeans, the boyish smiles, and the humble hands that had fixed broken fences. This man was powerful, commanding, a stranger. Anna stood frozen behind the counter, her breath caught somewhere between awe and betrayal. James walked toward the door with calm certainty, the bodyguard and assistant flanking him like shadows. When he entered the inn, the bell above the door jingled softly, an oddly ordinary sound amid something so surreal. He paused at the threshold, his eyes searching for her. When they met, something flickered in his expression. "Anna," he said softly. She didn't respond. Couldn't. Her legs felt locked beneath her. "Why are you here?" she finally managed to ask, her voice cool and controlled. "I came to explain," he said, stepping closer. "Explain what?" she snapped, the hurt rising within her. "That you've been lying to me from the moment we met." "I never lied," he said gently. "I just didn't tell the whole truth." Her laugh was dry. "That's the same thing." He stepped closer, determination in his gaze. "My name is James Donovan. My family owns Donovan Media Group, based in New York." Anna blinked, stunned. "You're serious?" "I needed to get away. From the expectations, the politics, the image. I wanted to see the world without being followed by cameras or catered to by assistants. I wanted something real." "So you decided to play the poor traveler and land in my inn?" she questioned, her voice trembling with restrained emotion. "No," he said, shaking his head. "That part wasn't planned. I got lost, literally. I was supposed to meet a friend in Marseille and ended up taking the wrong train. When I found this village, it felt peaceful. I was going to stay one night. And instead you stayed in my home," she said, struggling to process the revelation. "You shared my table, my life. Because the longer I stayed, the more I didn't want to leave," he said, his voice earnest. Anna looked down, her hands clenched into fists. "You let me think you were someone else. I opened up to you. I trusted you." "I know," he said quickly, his voice filled with regret. "And I'll never forgive myself for breaking that trust." Looking at him, she saw the man in the perfect suit standing in the same spot where a barefoot, rain-soaked James once knelt beside her father, saving his life. "You should go," she said, her voice barely a whisper. James' jaw tensed. "Please, just let me say what I came to say." "Why?" she asked, feeling the weight of everything they had shared crash down on her. "So I can soothe my guilt and go back to my penthouse?" "No," he said, shaking his head. "So I can tell you that none of that matters. Not the money, not the name, not the suit. The only real thing I found was you." Anna stared at him, unmoved. He took a breath, placing a small envelope on the counter. "This is a deed," he said, transferring partial ownership of the inn to her name alone. "No strings, no thanks needed, just protection in case you ever need it." She didn't touch it. He turned toward the door, his shoulders heavy. As he stepped outside, the whispers returned, swirling around her like a storm. Anna stood behind the glass, watching him walk away, her world spinning. He hadn't come back as a wanderer. He had come back as a king. But the man she had fallen for had always just been James, and she wasn't sure which version she missed more. It had been a week since the limousine vanished down the old cobbled road, a week since James left the inn behind again. But this time, it wasn't silence that filled Anna's days. It was noise in her chest, in her thoughts, in her heart. She replayed every word he said, every touch, every moment that had felt real. But was it? Or had it all been part of some elaborate performance by a man who had everything and still chose to wear the face of someone who had nothing? The sun was just beginning to dip below the waves when she walked back inside the empty dining room. The inn was quiet again. Guests were few this time of year, and her father was still recovering in the hospital. The ache in her chest matched the stillness around her until the bell above the door rang. She turned sharply, and there he was, James. No bodyguard, no limousine, no designer suit, just James, slightly wrinkled shirt, familiar boots, and eyes full of something raw and unguarded. She stared at him, disbelief flooding her senses. "You're back." "I had to be." "You shouldn't be here," she said, the words tumbling out. "I know," he replied quietly, stepping closer. "But I needed to try one more time." He held a worn leather folder in his hands, laying it gently on the counter. "That's my file, my ID, my family records, everything. You can read it, you can verify it, but none of it matters unless you understand one thing." She folded her arms, wary. "I never meant to deceive you," he said, his voice steady. "I just needed to be someone without a title for once, to be looked at without the weight of wealth or expectation. You gave me that. You looked at me and saw a man, not a brand." She shook her head, struggling to process. "And yet you still let me fall for someone who wasn't real." "No," he replied softly, stepping even closer. "The man who held your father's hand, who baked the worst banana bread in France, who waited in the rain just to make sure you were safe, that man was always real." Anna's lips parted, but no words came. James took a slow breath, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small, unmarked velvet box. Dropping to one knee, he looked up at her, vulnerability etched across his face. "I'm not offering you Donovan Media," he said, his voice steady. "I'm not offering you my last name or my wealth or my world. I'm offering you the worst parts of me, the scared parts, the bruised parts, the ones that don't make headlines. I want to love you with the poorest heart I have, because that's the only version of me that ever truly belonged to you." Tears welled in her eyes as he whispered, "I have everything, Anna, but none of it means anything without you. You're the only thing that's ever made me feel human." She covered her mouth with one hand, overwhelmed by the depth of his words. "I don't know how to trust you again," she admitted through trembling lips. James held up the ring, simple, honest, not flashy, not enormous. "Then don't trust the headlines. Don't trust the money. Trust this." He placed his hand over his heart, the only part of me that never lied. A long silence filled the room as Anna processed his words. Slowly, she stepped forward, not reaching for the ring, but taking his hand instead, gripping it tightly. "I still hate banana bread," she whispered, a smile breaking through her tears. James laughed, tears in his eyes. "I'll never bake again." And in that quiet, crooked little inn by the sea, with salt in the air and love in the silence, she nodded. She didn't say yes with words. She said it with forgiveness, and that was everything. 1 year later, the inn by the sea looked like something out of a fairy tale. White roses climbed the trellises, fluttering ribbons danced in the ocean breeze, and fairy lights twinkled in the trees lining the garden. Guests filled the lawn, friends from the village, staff from the Donovan Foundation, even a few faces from across the ocean, all gathered to witness a love that had defied circumstance, status, and secrecy. But no grand cathedral could have meant more, because this wasn't just a venue. It was the place where a girl with tired eyes and a guarded heart had opened her door to a stranger in the rain. It was the place where James had first learned how to fix broken shutters and unknowingly mend a broken soul. And today, it was the place where they would promise forever. Anna stood in front of the mirror in her small room upstairs, the same room she'd grown up in, the same one she'd once thought she'd never leave. Her dress was simple ivory lace with a soft train, her hair tucked back in loose waves, a single pearl pin holding it in place. Her reflection shimmered with tears. She didn't try to stop them. Downstairs, James waited, No tuxedo, no headline, just a crisp white shirt, open at the collar, and a soft navy jacket. His hands were steady, but his heart raced the way it had the first time she'd looked at him without judgment. The ceremony was brief but sacred. Anna walked down the garden path alone, barefoot in the grass. She didn't need anyone to give her away. She had found herself long before she found James. When they stood before the officiant, hand in hand, no one cared about last names or fortunes. They saw a man and a woman who had been strangers, then friends, then each other's safe place. When it came time to exchange vows, James took her hand gently. "I came here looking to disappear," he said, "and instead, I found the one person who truly saw me, even when I wasn't ready to be seen." Anna smiled, tears slipping down her cheeks. "And I," she replied, "built walls so high I thought no one could climb them. But you didn't climb. You waited with quiet patience until I was ready to open the door." When the words were said and the rings exchanged, the crowd erupted in soft applause. James kissed her like he had nothing to prove and everything to protect. That night, under a sky scattered with stars, James stood beside her in the garden. "There's something I want to show you," he said, leading her to the edge of the property where the inn met the cliffs. Newly posted on a wooden sign were the words, "The Haven Project, a seaside retreat for families in need." Anna gasped softly. "I transferred the land," James said, pointing to the sign. "The entire estate. It's yours now. Yours to shape into whatever brings you peace." "I thought you loved this place as it is," she whispered, overwhelmed. "I love it because of what it gave me," he replied. "Now it's time for it to give to others." Anna turned to him astonished. "How do you always know exactly what my heart needs?" James stepped closer, cupping her face with both hands, pressing his forehead to hers. "You thought I was just a lost traveler," he murmured. She smiled through her tears. "You were." He kissed her gently, then whispered against her skin, "But you were the one who brought me home." Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable journey. From a rainy night outside a humble inn to a wedding under the stars, James and Anna's story reminds us that love isn't found in wealth or status, but in quiet moments, honest hearts, and the courage to stay when it's easier to walk away. If this story touched your soul, made you smile, or even brought a tear to your eye, please consider supporting more stories like this by hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story that might just change your day or your life. As soul-stirring stories, we believe that sometimes a single story can heal a heart. A single moment can rewrite a life. And love, when it's real, is always worth the wait. As the weeks turned into months, life at the inn continued to flourish in ways Anna had never imagined. The Haven Project had become a beacon of hope for families in need, transforming the once quiet inn into a vibrant community hub. Anna poured her heart into the project, and with James by her side, they worked tirelessly to create a space filled with laughter, warmth, and love. Each morning started with the aroma of fresh coffee wafting through the air as families gathered around the long wooden tables for breakfast. The laughter of children filled the dining room, their joy infectious as Anna served pancakes piled high with syrup and berries. James often joined in, flipping pancakes with flair, his laughter mingling with theirs, creating an atmosphere that felt like home. Yet, amidst the happiness, Anna couldn't shake the shadows of doubt that sometimes crept in. She often found herself reflecting on James's past, the secrets he had kept, and the life he had left behind. Even as they built a future together, the thought of his hidden truths lingered in the back of her mind. One evening, as they prepared for a community event, Anna watched James interact with the families. He moved effortlessly, his charm shining through as he shared stories and jokes. But there was an intensity in his gaze that sometimes made her wonder what he was really thinking. "Hey," she said softly, approaching him as he set up chairs in the garden. "You seem distant today. What's on your mind?" James paused, his expression shifting as he turned to her. "Just thinking about how far we've come," he replied, a smile breaking through. "It's incredible to see how this place is transformed." "It really is," Anna agreed, her heart swelling with pride. But I can't help but feel like there's something you're not sharing with me. He looked at her, his eyes searching hers. Anna, I promise you, I'm here for you. I want to share everything with you, but some things take time. I'm still figuring it all out. She nodded, understanding the weight of his words, but feeling a pang of frustration. I just wish you'd let me in. I want to support you, but it's hard when you keep parts of yourself hidden. James stepped closer, his voice low and sincere. I know, and I appreciate your patience. Just know that it's not about you. It's about me learning to trust again. That night, as the stars twinkled above the inn, Anna lay awake in bed, contemplating his words. She wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that he would eventually open up. But the fear of what those hidden truths might be gnawed at her, threatening to unravel the bond they had built. The following week, they hosted a special family retreat, inviting families from various backgrounds to stay at the inn and enjoy a weekend of activities and bonding. The energy was electric as children ran through the garden, their laughter echoing against the cliffs. James and Anna led workshops together, teaching families how to cook simple meals, create crafts, and share their stories. Each moment spent with the families reinforced the love and connection that had blossomed between them, but Anna still felt that something was missing. On the final night of the retreat, they organized a bonfire on the beach. As the flames danced in the darkness, families gathered around, sharing stories and laughter. Anna watched James mingle with the guests, his charisma drawing everyone in. But as she looked at him, she felt a familiar ache in her heart, a longing for deeper connection, for honesty. Can we talk? She asked him later, pulling him away from the crowd as the fire crackled behind them. Of course, he replied, sensing the seriousness in her tone. I love what we've created here, Anna began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. But I need to know what's really going on with you. I can't shake this feeling that you're still holding back. James sighed, running a hand through his hair. I want to share everything with you, Anna. I do. But some parts of my life are complicated, and I'm not sure how to explain them. Try, she urged, her heart racing. I want to understand you, all of you. I don't want to feel like there's a wall between us. He looked into her eyes, vulnerability etched across his face. You have to know that my past is messy. I've made mistakes, and I've hurt people. I left to escape that life, but I never fully dealt with it. Anna felt her heart sink. What kind of mistakes? James took a deep breath, the weight of his past hanging heavily between them. I was involved in a world that wasn't just about business. It was about power and manipulation. I walked away, but not without leaving scars on myself and others. Is that why you've been so careful? She asked softly, her heart aching for him. Because you're afraid of who you were? He nodded, his expression pained. I don't want that life to define me. I want to be the man I am now, the one who loves you and wants to build something real. Tears filled Anna's eyes as she stepped closer. You don't have to be ashamed of your past. It's part of you, but it doesn't have to dictate our future. James reached for her hand, his grip firm yet gentle. I'm scared, Anna. Scared, Anna. Scared that if I let you in completely, you'll see the worst parts of me and walk away. I won't, she promised, her voice filled with conviction. I'm here for you, all of you. I love you, James, and I want to face whatever comes together. In that moment, something shifted between them. The walls that had once stood tall began to crumble, and for the first time, both felt the weight of their shared vulnerability. As they stood together, the cool night air wrapping around them, Anna knew they were at a turning point. The honesty they had longed for had finally surfaced, and with it came the promise of deeper connection. The days that followed were filled with new possibilities. James began to open up more, sharing stories of his past, his struggles, his fears, and the journey that had led him to the end. Anna listened intently, her heart swelling with empathy and understanding. Each conversation brought them closer, and with each shared moment, the bond they had forged grew stronger. They laughed together, cried together, and faced the challenges of their past with renewed determination. As the seasons changed, so did their relationship. They became a team, united in their vision for the inn and the community they had built. The Haven Project flourished, and so did their love, blossoming in ways they had never thought possible. One evening, as they stood on the porch watching the sun dip below the horizon, James turned to Anna, a soft smile on his lips. "Thank you for being patient with me," he said, his voice filled with warmth. "You've helped me heal in ways I didn't know I needed." Anna smiled back, her heart full. "And thank you for trusting me with your truth. It means more than you know." As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, they stood together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held. Together, they had created a love that was rooted in honesty, resilience, and the courage to embrace their pasts. In that moment, Anna knew they were not just building a life together. They were crafting a beautiful story, one that would inspire others to find hope and healing in their own journeys. And for the first time in a long time, she felt truly at peace, knowing that love, when real, could conquer even the darkest of pasts. The morning sun streamed through the window, casting warm light across the inn as Anna busied herself preparing for the upcoming weekend. The anticipation in the air was palpable. They were hosting a special retreat for families affected by hardship, an event that had become a cornerstone of the Haven Project. Anna moved through the kitchen, humming softly as the scent of freshly baked bread filled the room. James entered, his presence instantly brightening the atmosphere. He carried a box filled with supplies for the weekend, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "I can't believe how many families signed up for this retreat," he said, setting the box down on the counter. "It's going to be amazing." Anna smiled, her heart swelling with pride at how far they had come together. "I know. I just hope everything goes smoothly." "Trust me," he replied, leaning against the counter with a playful grin. "With you at the helm and a little help from me, we can handle anything." "Let's hope so," she replied, rolling her eyes playfully. "Just remember, no more salt instead of sugar in the banana bread, okay?" James laughed, shaking his head. "I promise to stick to the recipe this time." As they prepared for the retreat, Anna couldn't help but notice how seamlessly they operated as a team. The laughter, the shared glances, and the occasional teasing made the work feel light and joyful. Yet, beneath the surface of her happiness, a flicker of anxiety lingered. The weight of her father's health still pressed on her mind, and she couldn't help but worry about how the families would respond to their new environment. On the first evening of the retreat, families began to arrive, filling the inn with life and energy. Children's laughter echoed through the halls as parents settled in, and Anna felt a warmth spread through her as she welcomed each family. She noticed James moving among the guests, effortlessly engaging with them, his charm disarming any lingering apprehensions. As night fell, they gathered around a large bonfire in the garden, the flickering flames casting a cozy glow. Anna watched as families shared stories, roasting marshmallows and enjoying the simple pleasure of each other's company. She felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her, realizing the impact they were making. "Look at this," James said, settling beside her, his voice low. "I think this is what it's all about." Anna nodded, her heart swelling at the sight of the joy around them. "It feels incredible to see everyone come together like this." "Yeah," he replied, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. "It reminds me of what we've built here. It's more than just an inn. It's a community." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the warmth of the fire mingling with the cool night air. Suddenly, Anna felt a tug of nostalgia for the journey they had taken together. "It's hard to believe how much has changed since you first showed up here." James chuckled softly. "I was just a lost traveler then, remember? Now look at us." "Yes," she said, her voice turning serious. "But I want to make sure we don't lose sight of what really matters. Building this place, this community, it's been amazing, but we need to keep being honest with each other." "I agree," James said, turning to her with sincerity. "I don't want to hide anything from you. You deserve the truth. And promise me that if things get overwhelming, you'll talk to me," she urged, her eyes searching his. "I want to be your partner in everything, not just the good times." "Always," he vowed, his expression earnest. "I promise." As the retreat continued, Anna and James worked tirelessly, organizing workshops and activities that brought families closer together. Each day unfolded with laughter and learning. But as the final night approached, Anna felt an undercurrent of tension building. On the last evening, they hosted a talent show, encouraging families to share their skills and stories. The atmosphere was electric, and Anna felt a mix of pride and nervousness as she prepared to take the stage with James. As they stood before the crowd, James squeezed her hand. "We've got this," he whispered, and she took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of his support. "Thank you all for being here," Anna began, her voice steady. "This weekend has been about more than just activities. It's been about building connections and supporting one another." James stepped forward, a broad smile on his face. "And we couldn't have done it without each of you. Your stories inspire us, and we're grateful to be part of this community." As families began to share their talents, Anna felt her heart swell with emotion. Each performance was a testament to resilience, creativity, and hope. Tears filled her eyes as she watched a mother sing a lullaby to her child, the love in her voice resonating through the crowd. After the final performance, Anna and James took a moment to reflect. "This has been incredible," she said, wiping a tear from her cheek. "Absolutely," James replied, his eyes shining. "I'm so proud of what we've created together." As the evening wound down, Anna felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. They had not only supported these families, but had also strengthened their own relationship in the process. Later that night, as they cleaned up the remnants of the event, Anna turned to James, her heart full. "I think this weekend was one of the best experiences of my life." "Me too," he said, grinning at her. "And it's just the beginning. But there's still so much for us to figure out," she said, a hint of vulnerability in her voice. "We need to keep working on our own relationship, too." James nodded, his expression turning serious. "I want to make sure we keep growing together, no matter what challenges we face." Together, Anna echoed, feeling a sense of unity between them. "I want to face everything together." As they locked eyes, Anna saw the promise of a future filled with love, honesty, and resilience. The bond they had forged over the past months had deepened, and she knew that whatever came next, they would face it hand in hand. In the days that followed, the inn buzzed with energy as they prepared for more retreats and community events. Each day brought new families and new stories, expanding the sense of belonging that had taken root within the Haven Project. One afternoon, as Anna and James worked together in the garden, planting flowers that would bloom in the spring, Anna paused to admire the view. "You know," she said, glancing at him, "I never thought I could feel so at home here." James looked up, his expression softening. "That's because you've built this place into something special. You've made it a home for so many. And you helped me see that I could open my heart again," Anna replied, her voice full of warmth. "You've shown me that love can be built on honesty and trust." With the sun setting behind them, casting a golden glow over the garden, Anna felt a sense of peace settle within her. The journey they had taken through storms, secrets, and self-discovery had brought them to this moment together. As they continued to plant, Anna knew that whatever the future held, they would face it as a united front, ready to embrace the challenges and joys that lay ahead. Their love had blossomed in the most unexpected of places, and now it was firmly rooted in the soil of trust, compassion, and shared dreams. And in that moment, as the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, Anna realized that they were not just building a community, they were crafting a life together, one filled with hope, love, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. As spring blossomed around the Haven Project, the inn transformed into a vibrant tapestry of color and life. Flowers bloomed in the garden, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blossoms mingling with the ocean breeze. Anna felt invigorated by the energy of the season, her heart light with the promise of new beginnings. James had become an integral part of the inn, not just as a partner in work, but as a partner in life. Together, they continued to host retreats and community events, each gathering bringing families closer and strengthening the bonds within the community. The laughter of children echoed through the halls, and the warmth of shared stories filled the air, creating an atmosphere that felt like home. One sunny afternoon, as Anna arranged fresh flowers in the dining room, she caught sight of James outside, playing catch with a group of children. His laughter rang out, a sound that sent a wave of joy through her. She admired the way he connected with everyone, his natural charisma drawing people in and making them feel at ease. "Hey, you," James called, waving her over. "Come join us." Anna set down the flowers and stepped outside, her heart swelling as she watched him interact with the children. "You're like a kid yourself," she teased, a smile spreading across her face. "Just trying to keep up with them," he replied, laughing as he tossed the ball to a little girl who squealed with delight. As Anna joined in, she felt a sense of belonging that warmed her heart. The simplicity of the moment, a warm sun, laughter, and the joy of connection, was everything she had hoped for when they started this journey together. After the game, they gathered the children around for story time, and Anna took her place beside James. She loved the way he animatedly told tales, his gestures bringing the stories to life. Together, they created a magical atmosphere that captivated the children, their eyes wide with wonder. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the garden, James turned to Anna, his expression serious. "Can we talk for a minute?" "Of course," she said, sensing the shift in his tone. They walked to a quiet corner of the garden, away from the laughter and chatter. "I've been thinking about us," he began, his voice steady, "about our future and what we want to build together." Anna felt a flutter of excitement mixed with nervousness. "What do you have in mind?" "I want to take the next step," he said, looking deeply into her eyes. "I know we've built something amazing here, but I want to make it official. I want to spend my life with you." Her heart raced as she processed his words. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" James nodded, a smile breaking across his face. "I want to propose, Anna. I want to ask you to marry me." Tears filled her eyes as a wave of emotion washed over her. "You want to marry me?" "Absolutely," he replied, his voice earnest. "You've shown me what love truly is, and I can't imagine my life without you. You're my partner, my best friend, and I want to build a life together." "Oh, James," Anna exclaimed, overwhelmed with joy. Yes, I want that too." James pulled out a small, simple ring from his pocket, the band glinting in the fading light. "I know it's not flashy, but it represents the love we've built together, honest and true." As he slipped the ring onto her finger, Anna felt a rush of happiness. "It's perfect," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Just like us." They embraced tightly, the world around them fading away as they held each other close. In that moment, Anna felt a profound sense of peace and belonging. Their journey had been filled with ups and downs, but they had faced everything together, emerging stronger and more connected than ever. As the sun dipped below their horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, Anna and James stood together, hand in hand, ready to face the future. The love they had cultivated was not just a promise, but a commitment to continue growing together, embracing whatever life had in store for them. In the months that followed, they began to plan their wedding, pouring their hearts into every detail. The inn became a canvas for their love story, each corner filled with memories of laughter, joy, and connection. Anna felt a sense of excitement as they envisioned their future, filled with love, family, and the warmth of community. On the day of their wedding, the inn was transformed into a fairy tale setting. The garden was adorned with flowers, fairy lights twinkling in the trees, casting a soft glow over the gathering. Friends and family filled the space, smiles brightening their faces as they prepared to witness the union of two souls deeply in love. As Anna walked down the aisle, her heart raced, and she felt a mix of nerves and exhilaration. James stood at the altar, his eyes shining with love and anticipation. When their gazes met, she knew in that moment that they were meant to be together. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with heartfelt vows and promises of love. As Anna spoke the words that echoed in her heart, she felt the weight of their journey, the struggles, the triumphs, and the love that had brought them to this moment. When it came time for the rings, Anna placed a simple band on James's finger, a symbol of their unbreakable bond. "With this ring, I give you my heart," she said, her voice steady and full of love. "And with this ring, I promise to love you forever," James replied, his voice filled with emotion. As they sealed their vows with a kiss, cheers erupted from their guests, filling the air with joy and celebration. In that moment, Anna knew they had created something beautiful, an unbreakable bond rooted in trust, honesty, and a shared vision for the future. As they celebrated with friends and family, Anna and James danced under the stars, their hearts intertwined as they began this new chapter of their lives together. The love they had nurtured at the Haven Project had blossomed into something extraordinary, and as they twirled beneath the night sky, they knew that their journey together was just beginning. In the days that followed, they settled into married life, continuing to run the inn and support the community they had built. Each day brought new challenges and joys, but together they faced everything, hand in hand. Anna often reflected on how far they had come since that fateful day when James had knocked on her door, a lost traveler seeking shelter. Now, they were partners in every sense of the word, united in love and purpose. As they stood together on the porch, watching the waves crash against the cliffs, Anna felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. They had built a life filled with love, laughter, and connection, and she knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together, stronger than ever, hand in hand, hearts intertwined in a love that would last a lifetime.